Under the spotlight, Ingrid Bergman always shone like a star. But in her memoir, she revealed a dark secret: he was despicable. Who was it that broke her heart? Turn each page, and you'll be drawn into the emotional and surprising story of a Hollywood icon. Ingrid Bergman, a Swedish rose, blooming amidst tragedy. Ingrid Bergman was born on August 29, 1915, in Stockholm, Sweden. She grew up in a world far removed from the glamour of the entertainment industry. Her early life was filled with tragedy. She lost her mother at just 3 years old, and her beloved father, a photographer who instilled in her a love for images and performing arts from a young age, passed away when she was only 12. Orphaned and shy, she was raised by relatives, but found her escape and calling on stage. Despite her quiet demeanor, Bergman soon displayed an extraordinary ability to express emotions, and she pursued acting with unwavering determination. She studied at the prestigious Royal Dramatic Theatre School in Stockholm, which also trained Greta Garbo, another Swedish legend. Her talent quickly made her stand out, and soon after she appeared in Swedish films where her radiant presence and natural acting style received critical acclaim. One of her first breakthrough roles was in the 1936 Swedish film Intermezzo, which later propelled her to international stardom when it was remade in Hollywood. Ingrid Bergman's career. After David O. Selznick invited Ingrid Bergman to Hollywood in 1939 to star in Intermezzo, a love story with Leslie Howard Bergman arrived. She stood out from the stylized stars of the era with her gentle beauty, soft voice, and sincere acting. Ingrid became one of the most sought-after actresses of the early 1940s after captivating audiences. Her career took off. In the years that followed, she starred in classics that showed her versatility and emotional depth. She played Ilse Lund, opposite Humphrey Bogart in Casablanca in 1942, a memorable role. Bergman's depiction of a woman torn between love and duty has made the film one of the most beloved in cinematic history. Her radiant face, especially in Rick's Cafe's emotional scenes, is remembered worldwide. Bergman received many Oscar nominations and critical acclaim during this time. Her captivating performance in Gaslight, where she played a woman gradually losing her mind, earned her her first Academy Award for Best Actress in 1944. Her psychological intensity and vulnerability showed her acting prowess. After this, she played memorable roles including opposite Cary Grant in Alfred Hitchcock's Notorious 1946, a complex tale of espionage, passion, and betrayal. She again ruled the screen with grace and emotion. She followed her heart to Italy and worked with Rossellini on neo-realist films like Stromboli, 1950, Europa 51, and Journey to Italy. While not commercial hits, these films were later recognized for their bold experimentation and influence on modern cinema. Bergman won her second Academy Award for Anastasia in 1956, marking her return to American cinema after many years abroad. This time, an industry that shunned her symbolically welcomed her back. She was one of the most versatile, and courageous actresses of her generation, appearing in European and American films. Her Emmy-winning portrayal of Israeli Prime Minister Golda Meir in A Woman Called Golda earned her praise on stage and screen. Ingrid Bergman won 3 Academy Awards, 2 Emmys, a Tony, and many other awards during her career. She acted in 5 languages with 20th century greats Alfred Hitchcock, Ingmar Bergman, and Sidney Lumet. Beyond the awards, her sincerity and quiet dignity won over audiences of all ages. Ingrid Bergman lived boldly, acted brilliantly, and defied her time. She maintained her integrity and dedication to her craft, even when scandal threatened her success. Ingrid Bergman's tumultuous personal life. She went through significant life changes: marriages, divorces, motherhood, and illness. She handled it all with grace. Ingrid Bergman, the 20th century film star's romantic life reflects the highs and lows of a woman in the spotlight and is an epic ballad about choosing between tradition and freedom, sacrifice and love. Her marriage began in 1996 when she married renowned neurosurgeon Petter Aron Lindström. He was from a quiet, conventional world of reason and medical discipline, not the stage or scripts and cameras. Bergman became engulfed in Hollywood's glamour. Their marriage seemed calm and stable, a model family. Hidden behind that facade were silent conflicts. Bergman was not still. She was born to act on stage and in life. Their 1938 daughter, Pia Lindström, became a successful television journalist. For the public, this small family was perfect. A successful doctor, a talented star, a well-behaved daughter. Fame flickers, burns, and is cruel. Bergman's career grew too fast for their love. She balanced film set's art and her role as a wife and mother with her creative drive. The late 1940s meeting of Ingrid Bergman and Roberto Rossellini was fateful. An Italian director, he embodied the neo-realist movement and lived and breathed films. A deep calling from kindred spirits connected them, not just physical attraction. Bergman was still married to Lindström, so this relationship was taboo. The heart defies social norms. The passion and impulsivity of Rossellini's love shocked the world. Bergman's 1952 pregnancy with Rossellini's daughter Isabella sparked a scandal. Public opinion was divided, media relentless. Ingrid Bergman, once admired for her morality and beauty, was now condemned and exiled from Hollywood. She didn't justify. Nobody apologized. She didn't bow. She chose love and lost her reputation. After 13 years with Petter Lindström, Bergman divorced him in 1950 and married Rossellini in Mexico. A new cinematic and turbulent chapter began. They had two more children, Roberto Ingmar, 1954, and Isotta Ingrid, 1956. However, the artistic romance between two strong personalities from different worlds inevitably led to conflicts. Rossellini was Italian, Bergman Swedish. Bergman was a global icon, Rossellini social cinema. Cultural differences, language expectations, and public pressure strained the relationship. Finally, they split in 1957. Marriage ended, but Mark remained. One of cinema's most iconic romances, it blended love art and tragedy like an unfinished symphony. In 1958, a year after her divorce from Rossellini, Bergman married Swedish theatrical producer and impresario Lars Schmidt for the third time. Schmidt gave her stability she had never had in her previous two relationships. Schmidt knew the stage and artists, so he stood back to let Bergman shine. The marriage lasted from 1958 to 1975. She gradually left Hollywood to focus on European theater and more mature, profound roles that fit her inner journey. Like all beautiful things, this relationship ended. Their 1975 divorce was quiet, without scandal, and without fanfare, acknowledging that even stable love cannot stop great personalities from changing paths. Ingrid Bergman remembered Gregory Peck as a captivating symbol despite all the men in her life, Petter, Roberto, Lars. The memoir described Peck as an unforgettable character, not just a co-star. She said he was large in stature, presence, aura, and soul, stopping the room when he entered. He made people quiet without speaking loudly. No need to prove himself, always trusted. Bergman felt she couldn't lie in Peck's presence because he was deep, moral, and upright despite his Hollywood appearance. No one knows if they had more than friendship. Bergman said Peck made her feel small in a good way. A masculinity that empowered. A memorable man without possessions. Ingrid Bergman admitted that she paused during filming because she forgot herself, not her lines. Seeing him through the lens erased everything around me. No lights, no sound. Only him, as if made of nothing time could touch. Rather than a professional distraction, it was a gentle soul jolt, emotional surrender, and respectful bow to a person whose presence alone could make the entire space adjust its breath. Instead of trying to be the center, Gregory Peck was already the room's axis without raising his voice or posture. Ingrid said his silence was most powerful. He spoke quietly in an era when everyone spoke loudly to be heard, and people listened. Bergman remembers Peck as never acting like a star. He treated his fame like an old coat, comfortable, unpretentious, and never demanding. In an industry where ego often trumped talent, Peck believed in art people and kindness, not fragile, naive kindness, but kindness that had been hurt, doubted, and still existed. He considered acting a form of telling the truth, Bergman wrote. Even in fiction, he saw each role as an opportunity to explore human nature, unadorned, non-judgmental listening and expressing. Gregory Peck challenged and supported Bergman. He transformed her, not just her actions. He left his mark on me, wrote, not just as a co-actor, but as a mirror that made me see myself, clearly and uncompromisingly. He taught her that greatness is being present wholeheartedly, completely, not perfect technique, applause, or spotlight. Gregory Peck was always profound, sincere, and unforgettable. When she wrote, "He was great," it wasn't a superficial compliment or journalistic label. She unabashedly acknowledged a person who made her rethink great. Rather than perfection, he was too real. Gregory Peck's greatness resonated like a bass note, hard to notice at first, but giving the symphony its soul. Because of this, his presence in Bergman's life was more than a memoir chapter. It was an emotional awakening. Ingrid Bergman's resilient battle. In the early 1970s, while the stage lights still graciously honored Ingrid Bergman's beauty, her life quietly entered a new chapter without a script, a director or an audience, only her and herself. Despite endless applause and praise, she felt a hard lump like a whisper, signaling a life change. Bergman acted quickly, despite a meticulously planned performance schedule. Her tumor was removed on June 15, 1974, in a quiet London private clinic. Without headlines or cameras, she was silently determined, a woman who was all too familiar with facing herself. But that surgery was just the beginning of a silent and resilient battle with breast cancer. In her mind, a new act began. No stage, no audience required discipline, courage, and a strong belief in living and working. Years later, while filming Autumn Sonata, one of her most complex and intense roles, Bergman felt another body alarm. New lump, another cycle, deeper spiral. She immediately had another surgery in London. Ironically and metaphorically, her artistic soul flourished when her body was ravaged. Under her compatriot, but unrelated Ingmar Bergman, she played a character who was like reliving herself, fractured, conflicted, and raw. Ingrid Bergman trained after stitches were removed when most would rest. She prepared for 1978 TV show Waters of the Moon. Not to prove anything, but because it was the only way she felt she still had control over life, through art roles and lighting up the stage even as her light wanes. Bergman played Golda Meir in 1981's A Woman Called Golda. A surprising turn of events. She was thin and her face disfigured from constant treatment. The audience saw Meir as coming from Bergman's body and soul, not history. Filming lasted long, her breath ragged. Shooting days were painful and exhausting. However, she never complained. The cold political lines were delivered with almost sacred beauty. She didn't just play Golda. She was a woman who fought, loved, and sacrificed like her. She won an Emmy and a Golden Globe for the performance. But most importantly, it showed her as an artist who faced the truth, even destruction. Bergman left the stage and lights and returned to her apartment in Cheney Gardens, London, a quiet Thameside neighborhood where art and peace coexisted. Outsiders found it beautiful. Bergman saw it as a cocoon where she fought silently. She started regular chemotherapy in those elegant walls. Her weak body shriveled. The former Hollywood star hid behind curtains to avoid paparazzi who still camped outside like ghosts. That wasn't how she wanted to be seen. Ingrid Bergman wanted them to remember her with bright eyes and a proud stance, not as a fading icon. Her 12th vertebra broke from cancer. Every move hurt. Her right lung had stopped working, her left partially. She lived in semi-consciousness, half awake, half dreaming, half pain, half meditation. Even then, she maintained her dignity. No weeping, no resentment. Quiet, like a candle burning out. Gregory Peck taught her that greatness is being fully present and whole in the final moments, not perfection. The Immortal Legacy of Ingrid Bergman. On August 29, 1982, Ingrid Bergman died shortly after midnight on her 67th birthday. A strange coincidence that resembled a fateful curtain call. She left in the silent embrace of those who loved and were loved by her, as if her life, with all its storms and glory, preferred to end on a gentle, lingering note rather than in agony. Her ex-husband, Swedish producer Lars Schmidt, sat with her hours before her death. No tears or laments, just a final birthday toast with wine. Clinked glasses. Both warm memories and the anticipation of separation made for a strange moment. A simple, elegant, and poetic farewell ceremony replaced the social ritual of former companions. The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry was beside her bed. In the final chapter, philosophical lines about loss and the intangible beauty of what we cannot grasp echoed like a lullaby. The fact that Bergman had spent her entire life at the intersection of reality and performance makes it unlikely that it was a coincidence. She left us like a star whose light fades slowly, not brightly or loudly. London held a memorial service for her at St. Martin-in-the-Fields Church in October, a historic venue with a solemn beauty like her art. Not just friends, family, or colleagues, 200 witnesses of an era were captivated by her eyes, voice, and irreplaceable performances. Her daughter Isabella Rossellini, her two other children, and the Rossellini family from Italy, Sweden, and the United States were present, forming a complete circle. Their presence was not just blood, but a silent artistic current passed down through generations. Famous actors and actresses such as Liv Ullmann, Sir John Gielgud, Dame Wendy Hiller, Birgit Nilsson, and Joss Ackland attended the ceremony. Each person entered the hall with a memory role or scene that never left them. Shakespeare excerpts echoed through the nave, recalling Bergman's classic roles not just to act but to live within them. As usual, music was the ceremony's soul. This old man, in the Inn of the Sixth Happiness, added innocence to the solemn atmosphere. The immortal Casablanca song, As Time Goes By, filled the air, and everyone was moved. Like a perfect circle, that song took her to fame's peak, and then took her away. Justin Daly. Her grandson recounted his chaotic but memorable memories. Photographers crowded outside, flashbulbs popping, shouting her name in the rain. In the chaos, a camera hit his head, waking him up. At that moment, said, "I realized she wasn't just my grandmother anymore. Everyone owned her. She belonged globally." Indeed, she did. Ingrid Bergman was more than a mother, grandmother, lover, and co-star. She embodied dignity in art, an example of courage in love, career, and death. As a star, she never overacted or tried to impress, living authentically with every role, line, and wound. That truth, a clear, unpretentious light, made millions worldwide realize she never left. Ingrid Bergman lives on in memory, on screen, and within us, who loved her even if we never met her. What do you think about Ingrid Bergman's decision to follow the call of love, despite the cost to her reputation and career in Hollywood? Was such courage in love worth the sacrifice? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below this video. And if you enjoyed our content, please leave a comment to let us know.